The ship was dying. Captain Una Park could feel it in her bones. The floor shook under her feet. Strange sounds came from deep inside the Aurora. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. They did not have much time left. "Tell me what is happening," she said. Her voice was calm. It was always calm. That was why they made her captain. Lieutenant Taeho Kim looked up from his station. Blood was running down his face from a cut on his head. "Navigation is broken. We are in hyperspace, but I do not know where we are going. The computer cannot tell us." Engineer Do-hoon Lee crawled out from under a broken machine. His hands were burned and covered in black oil. "The engine is getting too hot. I can keep us alive for 10 minutes, maybe less." 10 minutes. Una looked at the blue light of hyperspace on the main screen. Somewhere far away, Earth was waiting for them. Her mother was waiting. Her daughter was waiting. But the Aurora had jumped into hyperspace to escape pirates, and something had gone very wrong. Now they were lost, flying blind through a place that could tear them apart at any moment. "Everyone hold on," Una said. "We are coming out of hyperspace now. Do-hoon, do it." The engineer pulled a lever. The ship screamed like a living thing. The blue light turned white, then black, then filled with stars. They were back in normal space. They had made it. But they were not alone. "Captain," whispered Dr. Ji Woo-han from her station. Her eyes were very wide. "You need to see this." Una walked to the main screen and looked. Her heart stopped. They were inside a building, not a space station, a building. The walls were made of crystal that glowed with soft light. The ceiling was so high that clouds floated near the top, and all around them, in seats that went up and up like a stadium, were aliens. Thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them, creatures of every shape and size and color. Some had tentacles, some had wings, some were made of light, some were made of stone. All of them were staring at the Aurora. "We are inside the Galactic Council chamber," Ji-woo said. Her voice was shaking. "I have read about this place. No ship has ever appeared here before. It is not possible. The shields around this place are the strongest in the galaxy." "Well," said Taeho, "we just did the impossible." A voice filled the chamber. It was deep and old and very angry. "What is the meaning of this?" On the highest platform, a being made of living crystal stood up. He was tall and beautiful and terrible. Light moved through his body like blood through veins. This was High Arbiter Valen, the leader of the Galactic Council. He had ruled for 3,000 years. "Identify yourselves," Valen said. "You have entered the most sacred place in the galaxy. You will answer for this crime." Ambassador Minji Choi stood up from her chair. She was bleeding from a cut on her arm. Her uniform was torn, but she stood straight and lifted her chin. She had trained her whole life for moments like this. Well, not exactly like this. No one could train for this. But she had trained to speak for humanity. "I am Ambassador Minji Choi of the United Earth Government," she said. Her voice was carried by speakers to the whole chamber. "We did not mean to come here. Our ship was damaged. Our navigation broke. We did not choose this place. It was an accident." Silence. Then laughter. It started small and grew until the whole chamber was filled with it. The aliens were laughing at them. "An accident?" Valen said. "You want us to believe that a young species from an unknown world broke through shields that have held for 10,000 years by accident?" "Yes," Minji said simply, "because it is the truth." The laughter stopped. Something in her voice made the aliens quiet. She was not afraid. She was not lying. The Council's machines that could detect lies confirmed it. This human was telling the truth. "What are you?" Valen asked. "What species? We have no record of your kind." "We are humans. We come from a planet called Earth. We have only been traveling between stars for 50 years. This is our first time meeting other intelligent life. We had hoped it would go better than this. Your hopes do not matter, Veilun said. You have broken our law. The punishment is death. Yuna stepped forward. Wait, please. We have hurt people on this ship. We have families waiting for us at home. We made a mistake. Is there no mercy here? The aliens began to argue among themselves. Some wanted to kill the humans right away. Others were curious about this new species. A few thought the humans might be useful. The noise grew louder and louder. Then something strange happened. A light began to glow in the corner of the chamber. It was red and angry. It came from a very old machine. An alarm. An alarm that had not made a sound in thousands of years. The chamber went silent. Every alien turned to look at the red light. Fear filled their eyes. Even Veilun, the ancient crystal being who had ruled for 3,000 years, looked afraid. The warning system, someone whispered. It has woken up. Yuna did not understand what was happening, but she understood fear. She had seen it on battlefields. She had seen it in hospitals. She had seen it in the eyes of people who knew they were going to die. And now she saw it in the eyes of every alien in this chamber. Something terrible was coming, and somehow the humans had woken it up. In the shadows of the chamber, Consul Theris watched the red light. She was from a water world, and her people remembered the old stories. They remembered what the warning was for. They remembered the name that must never be spoken. The Hollow King was waking up, and after 1,000 years of sleep, it was hungry. 3 days passed. The Aurora sat in a holding area, surrounded by guards from 12 different species. The humans were prisoners, but they were alive. That was more than anyone had expected. Dr. Jiwoo Han spent every hour reading. The council had given them limited access to their information network. She could not look at secret files, but she could read history, and what she found made her blood run cold. There are gaps, she told Captain Park on the 3rd night. Big gaps. Species that lived for millions of years just stopped existing. No war, no sickness. They just disappeared. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Yuna looked at the data on Jiwoo's screen. What killed them? That is the strange part. The records do not say. There are whole areas of space marked as forbidden. No one can go there. No one will say why. Jiwoo pointed to a map. Large areas were colored red. Look at this. These red areas make a pattern. They form a circle around something in the middle of the galaxy, something the Council does not want anyone to find. Lieutenant Taiho Kim walked into the room. He looked tired. He had not slept well since they arrived. None of them had. The guards are scared, he said. I have been watching them. They do not look at us like we are dangerous. They look at us like we are bad luck, like something terrible will happen because we are here. That night, the nightmares began. Taiho was the first to scream. He woke up fighting, his metal arm smashing through the wall beside his bed. His eyes were wild with fear. Earth, he said, breathing hard. I saw Earth burning. Everyone was dead. Everyone I love was dead. Engineer Do-hoon Lee had the same dream. So did Ambassador Minji Choi. So did every human on the ship. They all saw Earth destroyed. They all felt the fear and pain of billions dying. But Captain Yuna Park had a different experience. She was in the nightmare too. She saw Earth covered in fire. She felt her mother die. She felt her daughter die. The fear was so strong that she wanted to curl up and stop existing. She wanted to give up. But then something inside her said no. She had felt fear before. She felt it when her father died. She felt it during the war. She felt it when doctors told her that her daughter might not live. Fear was an old friend. Fear was a tool. Fear told you that something important was happening. Fear gave you strength to fight. Yuna grabbed the fear and pushed back. She would not accept this vision. She would not let it break her. She reached into the darkness of the nightmare and demanded to see what was causing it. And something answered. She found herself in a place that was not a place. There was no up or down. There was no light or dark. There was only a presence. Something very old and very hungry. It filled the space around her like water fills a glass. "What are you?" she asked. The presence seemed surprised. It had never been questioned before. Its food did not usually fight back. They broke, they screamed, they gave up. They did not stand in the middle of their fear and ask questions. "You are different," the presence said. Its voice was made of 1,000 screams. "You taste different." Then Yuna woke up. She lay in her bed, breathing hard. Her sheets were wet with sweat. But she was not broken. She was angry. Someone knocked on her door. When she opened it, she found a surprising visitor. Consul Theris stood in the hallway. Water dripped from her blue skin. Her large eyes looked left and right, checking for guards. "I came through the water pipes," she said. "We must talk. You are all in great danger." Yuna let her in. She called the other officers to her room. They gathered in a circle while Theris told them the truth that the council had hidden for thousands of years. "We call it the Hollow King," Theris said. "It is not alive like you or me. It lives between worlds. It feeds on fear and pain and sadness. When a species becomes smart enough, it gets the Hollow King's attention. Then the Hollow King comes." "What happens then?" Minji asked. Theris looked at the floor. "First, the nightmares come. The Hollow King reaches into your mind while you sleep. It shows you your worst fears. It makes you feel hopeless. Then, when your spirit is broken, it feeds. It eats your fear. It eats your mind. It eats your soul. And when it is done, there is nothing left. Your whole species just ends." "The forbidden areas," Jiwoo said. "The missing species. They did not disappear. They were eaten." "Yes, thousands of civilizations, billions of years of history, all gone. The Council hides this truth because knowing about the Hollow King makes it stronger. Fear feeds it, so we pretend it does not exist." "But it is not sleeping anymore," Yuna said. "It woke up when we arrived." "Yes, but something strange happened tonight. My people can feel psychic energy. When the Hollow King attacked your ship, I felt something I have never felt before. I felt it pull back. I felt it feel confused." "What did you do?" Yuna told her about the nightmare, about how she pushed back, about how she faced the presence and asked questions. Theris stared at her. "That is not possible. No one fights the Hollow King." Jiwoo was thinking hard. "Our history," she said slowly. "Earth is a hard world. We have been dying since the beginning. Wars, sickness, storms, ice ages. We have been afraid our whole existence. We did not learn to avoid fear. We learned to live with it, to use it." She looked at her captain. "The Hollow King feeds on fear. But what happens when it meets a species that turns fear into strength? What happens when it meets food that fights back?" Theris's eyes grew wide. "You think humans can fight the Hollow King?" "I do not just think we can fight it," Yuna said. Her voice was hard. "I think we can hurt it. And I think that is exactly what we are going to do." Outside the Aurora, the station lights flickered. In the council chamber, aliens woke screaming from nightmares. The Hollow King was tasting its new hunting ground. But on one small ship, 5 humans were not afraid. They were angry, and they were making plans. The galaxy was falling apart. In the council chamber, aliens screamed and fought and ran. The Hollow King's nightmares had spread like a sickness. Species that had been friends for 1,000 years were now attacking each other. One alien from the Fire Worlds set himself on fire because he could not stop the visions. A group of peaceful plant beings had grown sharp thorns and were hurting anyone who came close. High Arbiter Valen stood on his platform trying to keep order, but even he was affected. His crystal body was flickering. Dark cracks were spreading through him. The fear was breaking him from the inside. "This cannot be happening," he said. His voice, once so powerful, now sounded weak. "The Hollow King has not moved in 1,000 years. Why now?" "Because of the humans," one of his helpers said. "They brought this curse. We should have killed them when they arrived." "Killing them now will not stop the Hollow King," said another voice. It was Consul Theris. She stepped out of the shadows. "But the humans might be able to help us." The chamber went quiet. Even in their fear and madness, the aliens stopped to listen. "They are different," Theris said. "The Hollow King attacked their ship last night. I felt it. But something strange happened. The humans pushed back. One of them actually fought the king in her mind. She did not break. She got angry." "Impossible," Valen said. But there was hope in his voice now, a small light in the darkness. "Bring them here," he commanded. "Bring the humans." The Aurora's crew walked into the council chamber. They moved through crowds of scared aliens. Some were crying, some were praying to gods that could not save them. Some had simply stopped moving, their minds broken by fear. But the humans walked tall. They were afraid, too. Anyone who said they were not afraid was lying. But they did not let the fear control them. They had spent their whole lives learning how to carry fear without falling down. Ambassador Minji Choi stepped forward to face the council. Her uniform was clean now. Her wounds were covered. She looked every part the speaker she was trained to be. "You wanted to kill us a few days ago," she said. "Now you want our help. Things change fast." "The Hollow King is awake," Valen said. "It has not moved in 1,000 years, but now it is attacking. Our people are dying. Our civilization is falling apart. We need help." "Why should we help you?" Taiho asked. His arms were crossed, his metal eye glowing red. "You treated us like criminals." "Because if the Hollow King wins here, it will not stop," Captain Unipark said. She stepped forward. "It will keep eating. It will keep growing. One day it will come to Earth. We are not just fighting for you. We are fighting for our home." She turned to face the whole chamber. "We will help you, but not as prisoners. As equals. Give us the respect we deserve, and we will stand beside you." Some aliens laughed. The humans were so small. Their technology was so simple. How could they possibly fight a god? But Vailun was not laughing. He was looking at Yuna's eyes. He had lived for 3,000 years. He knew courage when he saw it. This human woman had more courage than anyone he had ever met. "What is your plan?" he asked. Captain Park nodded to her crew. Engineer Dohun Lee stepped forward with drawings on a screen. "The Hollow King attacks through fear. It sends waves into your mind that create nightmares. But we have studied those waves. Human brains work differently than most species. We naturally resist what it does. More importantly," Dr. Ji Wuhan added, "we know how to send out our own brain patterns. We can create a shield that will protect others from the nightmares. It will not be perfect, but it will help." "That is defense," Valoon said. "What about attack? How do we hurt this thing?" "The Hollow King feeds on fear," Yuna said. "But we believe it is hurt by the opposite, not just being calm, something more, hope, courage, the choice to keep fighting even when you are afraid." She showed pictures on the main screen. Human art. Paintings, music, stories, photographs. "This is who we are," she said. "We are a species that has been afraid since the beginning. We lived on a world that tried to kill us every day. Storms, earthquakes, ice, sickness. We should have died 1,000 times. But we did not die. We told stories around fires to make the dark less scary. We painted pictures on walls to remember our dead. We sang songs while we worked in fields that barely gave us enough food." She looked at the alien faces around her. You want to know what humans are? We are the species that looks at death and says, "Not today." We are the species that finds hope in the darkest places. That is what the Hollow King cannot understand. That is what will hurt it. Lieutenant Kim stepped forward. I will lead a team into the bad zone. That is where the Hollow King is strongest. We will take the fight right to it. That is death, someone said from the crowd. Maybe, Taiho said, but it is better than waiting here to die. The chamber was silent. Then, slowly, Violin stood up. His crystal body was still cracked, still dark in places. But something had changed. There was light in his eyes again. The council will help you, he said. We will give you ships. We will give you weapons. The humans have shown more courage in 1 hour than we have shown in 1,000 years. It is time we remembered how to fight. Other aliens stood up. Then more. Then more. One by one, the species of the galaxy rose to their feet. They were still afraid. But fear was not the only thing they felt anymore. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was going to war against the Hollow King, and 5 humans would lead the way. The Aurora flew into hell. The bad zone was a wound in space. Stars here were wrong. They burned black instead of white, taking in light instead of giving it out. The space between stars was thick with something that looked like fog but felt like fear. Just looking at it made you want to scream. Captain Yuna Park stood at the center of the bridge. Around her, the crew worked in silence. Engineer Do-Hoon Lee kept the special systems running. Lieutenant Taiho Kim had his weapons ready. Dr. Ji-Woo Han watched the readings on her screen. Ambassador Minji Choi talked to the council fleet that waited behind them. The fleet is waiting at the edge of the zone, Minji said. Valen says they will shoot from there, but they cannot come any closer. The fear is too strong for their people. It is strong for us too, Ji-Woo said. But our shield is working. We can go through. They went deeper. Reality began to break around them. Time moved strangely. Sometimes seconds felt like hours. Sometimes hours felt like seconds. The walls of the ship began to show pictures. Dead family, failed dreams, worst memories. Taiho saw his brother, killed in a war 10 years ago. Minji saw herself as a child, alone and afraid. Do-Hoon saw his mother, asking why he never came home. Ji-Woo saw every mistake she had ever made, but they kept moving forward. I see something ahead, Yuna said. It was the Hollow King. No words could describe what they saw. It was bigger than a planet, bigger than a star. It was a hole in everything, a place where existence ended and something else began. It had no shape, but it was there. It had no eyes, but it was watching them. You came to me, the Hollow King said. Its voice was not heard with ears. It was felt in bones, in blood, in the deepest parts of the mind. I was going to come to you, but you came to me. How strange, how foolish. We are not fools, Yuna said. She spoke out loud, and somehow the king could hear her. We are humans, and we have come to tell you something. What could you tell me? I have lived since before your galaxy was born. I have eaten civilizations that lasted longer than your species will ever live. You are nothing. We came to tell you that you are going to lose. The Hollow King laughed. The laugh shook the ship. It shook the stars. It shook reality itself. Lose? I cannot lose. I am fear itself. I am the dark that waits at the end of all things. Every species fears death. Every species fears the empty, and I am both. You are right, Yuna said. We fear death. We fear the empty. But we do not let fear stop us. She turned to Do-Hoon. Now. The engineer turned on the special system they had built. The Aurora began sending out a signal. But it was not a normal signal. It was everything humans had ever made to fight against sadness. Music filled the empty space. Songs written by slaves who still believed in freedom. Songs written by soldiers who still believed in going home. Songs written by people who had lost everything but still found reasons to smile. Stories filled the empty space. Tales of heroes who faced impossible things. Tales of ordinary people who did special things. Tales of hope living in the darkest places. Pictures filled the empty space. A mother holding her baby. Friends laughing together. Lovers watching the sun go down. Children playing in the street. Life. Beautiful, stubborn, impossible life. The Hollow King screamed. "What is this? What are you doing to me?" "You eat fear," Dr. Han said. "But courage is not just being calm. Courage is fear that has become strength. Fear that makes you fight harder. You cannot eat it. It is poison to you." Something was happening inside the Hollow King. The ghosts of thousands of eaten civilizations were waking up. For millions of years, they had been trapped inside the monster, their fear feeding it forever. But now they were hearing something new. They were hearing hope. They began to remember what it meant to fight. "Stop this," the Hollow King said. "Stop this now." "No," Taiho said. He was flying a small attack ship now, leading a team toward the king's center. "We are just getting started." The battle became wild. The Hollow King threw nightmares at them like weapons. It showed them their deaths 1,000 times. It showed them their families hurting. It showed them Earth burning over and over again. But the humans kept fighting. When the fear became too strong, they told each other jokes. When the pictures became too terrible, they sang songs from childhood. When it seemed like they could not go on, they thought about everyone waiting for them back home. Taiho's team reached the center. The Hollow King's heart was there, a point of pure darkness. He looked at it and felt fear so strong his heart almost stopped. But then he thought about his brother. His brother died fighting for something he believed in. Taiho would do the same. "Do-hun," he said into his radio. "I am at the target. Are you ready?" Back on the Aurora, Engineer Do-hun Lee was crying. He knew what came next. He had built the weapon himself. It would turn the ship's power into a bomb made of human courage. It would tear the Hollow King apart. But someone had to start it by hand, and that person would not live. "Captain," he said, "it has been an honor." "Do-hun, no," Yuna said. "There has to be another way." "There is not. We both know it." He smiled. "Tell my mother I love her. Tell her I finally did something that mattered." He pushed the button. Light came from the Aurora, not normal light. This was every moment of human courage made into one point. Every time someone was afraid and fought anyway. Every time someone was broken and chose to heal. Every time someone faced the dark and said no. The Hollow King screamed louder than anything had ever screamed. The eaten civilizations inside it were breaking free, their souls finally finding peace. The monster that had hurt the galaxy for billions of years was being torn apart by hope. The bad zone fell apart. The black stars became normal. The fog of fear turned to nothing. And in the quiet that followed, a small ship flew slowly back toward the Council fleet. Its engines barely worked. Its walls were damaged. One of its crew would never come home. But they had won. The Aurora came home to a hero's welcome. The council chamber was full again. But this time, there was no fear. The aliens who had been screaming and fighting a week ago were now standing in neat rows, watching as the broken human ship landed on the main platform. They had put up lights and flowers from 100 different worlds. Captain Yuna Park was the first to step out. She looked tired. There were new lines on her face and new gray in her hair, but she stood straight and walked with the same calm she had always shown. Behind her came the rest of the crew, Lieutenant Taiho Kim, Dr. Jiwoo Han, Ambassador Minji Choi, 4 humans who had changed the galaxy forever. Do-hun Lee was not with them. He never would be again. High Arbiter Valen came forward to meet them. His crystal body was healing. The cracks that had covered him were closing. Light moved through him freely again. He looked stronger than he had in 1,000 years. When he reached Yuna, he did something no one expected. He bowed. The leader of the Galactic Council, the most powerful being in known space, bowed to a human captain from a small planet no one had heard of until a week ago. "Captain Park," he said, "I am 3,000 years old. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched species reach for the stars and fail. I thought I had seen everything, but I have never seen anything like what you and your crew have done." Yuna accepted the bow with grace. "We did not do it alone. Your fleet helped us. Consul Theris gave us information when no one else would. The galaxy fought together. We just showed you how." "You showed us how to be brave again," Valoon said. "We had forgotten. We hid from the Hollow King for so long that we forgot how to stand up. You reminded us." He turned to face the whole chamber. "The Council has voted," he said. His voice filled every corner. "Humanity is now a full member of the Galactic Council, not as a junior, not on trial, as equals. This is the first time ever that any species has received this honor when first meeting us." The chamber filled with noise. Some species cheered, some made sounds that humans could not understand, but knew were happy. Some simply stood in silence, showing respect in their own way. Ambassador Minji Choi stepped forward. "On behalf of Earth and all of humanity, I thank the Council. We came here by accident. We stayed because it was right. We lost a friend along the way." Her voice shook a little. "Engineer Do-Hoon Lee gave his life so that the galaxy could live. We ask that he be remembered." "He will be remembered," Vylon promised. "His name will be written on the walls of this chamber. As long as the Council exists, no one will forget what he did." After the ceremony, Consul Theris found Captain Park alone, looking out at the stars. The captain's face showed nothing. "You are not celebrating," Theris said. "I am thinking about Do-Hoon. He was 28 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. He should be going home to his mother right now. He made a choice, a brave choice. Yes, and I have to live with being the captain who let him make it." Yuna turned to face the alien. "But that is not the only thing I am thinking about. The Hollow King is not dead. Is it?" Theris was quiet for a long time. "No, it is not dead. Something that old and powerful cannot be killed so easily. It is hurt. It has gone away to heal. But it will come back. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 100, maybe in 1,000, but it will come back, and when it does, it will remember humanity." "I know," Yuna said. She did not seem afraid. "We will be ready." "How can you be so calm about this?" Yuna smiled. It was a tired smile, but it was real. "Because we have been facing death since we first stood on 2 legs. Ice ages, sickness, wars. We always find a way. The Hollow King is just one more thing trying to kill us. It will fail like all the others." The Aurora left the Council Station 3 days later. The ship had been fixed and made better with the best technology the galaxy had. It was faster now, stronger, better protected. But to her crew, she was still the same old ship, their home among the stars. Taiho stood at his station, watching the stars go by as they entered hyperspace. He was thinking about the battle, about the friends he had lost, about the fights still to come. His metal arm hummed with new parts. He was ready for whatever came next. Jiwoo was in her room, studying everything she had learned about the Hollow King. There was so much they still did not understand. So much they needed to know before it came back. She would spend her life looking for answers. It was worth it. Minji was writing a report for the Earth government. She had to explain everything that had happened. She had to help them understand that humanity was no longer alone. They had friends now. They had enemies. They had duties. Yuna stood on the bridge, watching the stars. A message was playing on her screen. It was from Earth. The whole planet had watched what happened at the council chamber. They knew what their people had done. They knew about Do-hoon's gift. The message was from her daughter. She was crying and laughing at the same time. "Mom, I always knew you were a hero, but I did not know you were this kind of hero. Come home, please come home." Yuna touched the screen gently. "I am coming. I am coming home." Minji walked onto the bridge and stood beside her captain. "What happens now?" "Now we go home. We tell everyone what happened. We get ready for what is coming, and we live our lives." "That simple?" "That simple, and that hard." Yuna looked at her friend and smiled. "The Hollow King will return. Old evils always do, but so will we. That is what humans do. We fall down and we get up. We lose and we try again. We face the dark and we light fires." She looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there, the Hollow King was healing. Somewhere out there, danger was waiting. But somewhere out there, a small blue planet was spinning through space, filled with 7 billion people who had just learned they were not alone. And they were ready. The galaxy's greatest hunter had finally met its match, not in powerful weapons or old magic, but in the simple, stubborn courage of a species that had learned to look at fear and say not today. The Hollow King would return. But so would humanity, and next time, they would be ready.